Nick's forecast. Excuse me. It's a April 2022. Anyways, it's time to talk today. Opportunity versus reality, or in reality, depending on how you want to look at it. Right now, the market got slammed yesterday, went down almost 1,000 points to 981. And I knew this was coming. I've been talking about it, and the bubble was ready to burst too, because the hedge funds and the other people got greedy, and so there's only quite a bit as far as mortgages go. They're covered by the government. It's only 20%. That means their 80% can burn right through the pockets of the hedge funds and mutual funds and banks and all the rest of the stuff. And you got all these other problems right now with the borders. Ukrainian inflation is really starting to kill it. Supply chain problems. So this all looks for a mega depression or a mega reset. Trying to call it with some other terms, but whatever. It's a depression, just like in 2008. But it could be worse. Probably will be the way things are looking out. But anyway, especially after the stock market got slammed. But there's an opportunity if you're an investor. If you just hold on to your money for a little while, if you got the cash, you'll be able to go and buy Pauline's homes. If you're going to buy a house, buy a choice area. When they start going into foreclosure again, to do that, because it's going to happen. A lot of people are going to lose jobs here in the near future, and that's going to be it. I don't care if you're in tech. I don't care if you have your own businesses. A lot of those are going to go under, and some will, some won't. A lot of big businesses are going to have to slash. A lot of it has a lot of configuration of events, and like I said, I just mentioned the supply chain problems, inflation problems. The Fed's going to have to raise the rate. They're going to raise it maybe another half point. They should have raised it already, at least a point so far. Rates are going to keep going up, but rates are still low, under 7%, still good. So anything under 6% is really good, but anything under 7% is good. But rates are going to go skying up. So there's going to be investors for buyers that are first-time buyers and investors or second-time buyers. And it starts going to foreclosure again, like in 2008, the banks, the wheel and deal, and you'll be able to get a lot. If you're a real estate agent, you need to get off your high horse, start getting on with banks, advisory groups, mutual funds, hedge funds that fund in the secondary market that deal with the subprime, non-prime. I hate the word non-prime, but prime funding. The non-conforming Alt-A kind of stuff. A lot of the conventional rates, because they're so low at 3%, 3.5%, depending if they've got a 15-year mortgage. But even then, some of those are going to go under too, because those people are going to lose their jobs. And I don't care if it's tech sector's already starting to lay people off after Netflix imploded, dropping 40% in their stock price. Now today, there's out saying it's buyable, and now people are looking around to buy it. So. And they had to lay off a bunch of people. And some of these other ones are starting to lay off. You just have to look at the big picture of stuff. So a lot of this inflation, let me read some of this stuff. This is on Fox News, and this is on Fox Business. Housing predictions for 2020 are funny. And I just want to read it. Buyers have limited options. No, some buyers are going to have lots of options. That's kind of a wrong assessment there, because they were $2.7 trillion in bonds that popped out last year that no one talked about, but this year is going to be probably at least double that. So they're full of crap on that. Some of the other wonderful stuff they put in here. Hold on. Come on, you stupid thing. Okay. Rising rents hurt first-time buyers. Yeah, but the rents are using, basically the average was $1,800, but they were in the 50 largest metro markets. So you're looking at the West Coast and East, big cities, some in the Midwest, some in the Southwest. But that was an average. But their averages, why they're so high, is because of the East Coast and West Coast, because the averages got really higher pretty quick. Housing market will cool, but slowly. Hale, who works for she's an economist, works for one of the big real estate companies, brokerages. Hale projected that prices and speed. Elizabeth Hale projected the prices and speed at which homes going to contract will slow. Fewer sales and more sellers bring balance to the market. Translation, there's going to be a lot of on the market here pretty soon. It's going to go back to the way it was in the early 2000s when you had a lot of stuff in the market. But the thing is, it's all going to implode here pretty soon because a lot of banks are going to get royally screwed. The banks on their secondary financing with their shell companies and a lot of these hedge funds and the equity groups are all going to get hosed pretty hard. So, here's a good thing. Potential buyers and runners should also consider what they need as perks that they can live without beforehand. Well, why the hell would I want to do that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You want a house, you don't want the house that you want, or you don't want the house that you're going to be able to put together. I mean, I remember having people going through a house, times before I sold it, but I ended up getting 4 or 6 in a deal. So yeah, it was worth it. But a lot of real estate agents now have to consider gas prices, so they're forcing you to go out and look at the homes anyways. And they should be doing that anyways, instead of doing the old stupid real estate trick. Oh, we'll show you 3 or 4 houses, and that's it. Wrong. Give them a list and email it to them, or on your automated email system with the multiple listing services they've had around for 20 years. Basically, it goes ahead and they go out and they download into their phone or whatever the ones that they want to keep, they discard them out with the new stuff that comes up. And they go out and take a look. If they like it, they go ahead and they do it. The problem is a lot of real estate agents are doing forced sales to buyers, and they're trying to add a lot of emotion to it. They're using they don't even know they're using NLP tactics to go ahead and force it. Grant Cardone always talks about that. Never force they don't want to do. If they don't want the house, then don't do it. I mean, I've had some buyers I've had to show 70, 80 houses, even 90 until they got it. Probably with me, it took a few months, but that's just the way it goes. You represent them. It's not the other way around. A lot of people in this real estate agents in this market, not mortgage brokers, because they have a separate entity because there's no mortgage, so it's a lot different. But a lot of these agents, real estate agents, egos are so high, they're buyers and telling them what to do. There's all these lawsuits all over the United States. They're all on the West Coast, most of the East Coast, where you have agents forcing buyers to buy the house that they want you to buy because of their commission, but the buyers don't want it, and they say no, no, and no, and they're being forced to sign documents because they're forcing them into it, push them into it. And there's some lawsuits, and the agents are going to lose their licenses, which they probably already have been suspended. They're going to lose it, and then the brokers are going to get sued. The brokers are going to get sued, and then that designated broker, he's going to be gone too. The broker owner, they'll probably be filing for bankruptcy unless they're big enough to withstand it, even with their insurance. So I mean, this stuff goes on. So, and there's some stupid stuff that I saw out today, like Gary Keller Williams, who, I got back for the guy because he built this company out of Dallas. Him and built it out into an international company. But the thing is that he's saying there's all going to be a mild recession. I'm like, dude, are you looking at the numbers? Do you see what's going on? I mean, I know you're playing it because you're making more money than you ever in the last 2 years, but give me a break, dude. You know what's up. I mean, it's just kind of embarrassing to say it. I mean, your company's going through enough turmoil right now anyways. Keller Williams, you got people up top that are being sued for all stuff, which sucks because it's bad for the company because it's an eyesore for the company. But, they can't be saying stuff like that just to the market's up. It's pretty lame. Anyways, and there's another big thing about independence. The franchises go with the indies. If you're a real estate agent or you become a real estate agent, maybe you're a buyer, investor, or seller, or you want to become an agent, something you want to do it. Make sure you become a mortgage broker at the same time. Get both licenses. Even get your insurance license if you like. I hate doing insurance. I just can't stand it. I hate insurance companies, but that's just me. But the thing is that you make sure you have both. If you're going to be a real estate agent, go to an independent because you don't want to be part of the NRA, which is they're lame anyway. Charge exorbitant amount of fee every year. It's probably like close to $700, $650. Something. Anyways, you don't want to pay that, and you just don't want to have to deal with all that. Independence, they don't have to charge any of those stupid fees or any stupid stuff. You can be 100% agent. If you're a cherry, you might be $820 for the first year or for 6 months or whatever to get your feet wet. A lot of there's a lot of companies out there that will still charge. They'll do an 80-20 to so much. A lot of them do 50-50, 60-40 to $25,000, and then you get 100%. Screw that. You don't want to give it. You might get referrals. You might get 20, 30 deals right off the bat. I've seen it happen. And you might get 15 listings in the first 3 months, buyers that you got off doing ads and other stuff. You want to keep all that money. You don't want to give it to your damn brokerage. You know what it is? You pay a small monthly fee of, $100, $150, whatever, 60, $70, whatever. One brokers in Seattle didn't even charge a monthly fee. The only time they do the fee is after you close the deal, which is cool. In the real estate agent, that's actually pretty progressive because there's some companies in the Southwest and in the Rocky States that were doing something like that. And this broker owner kind of copied that, which I think was kind of cool. Anyways, and they got a pretty good company. They do, they got a couple offices, but everyone works out of their house office. They do their own thing. Or you pay your small monthly fee and then you pay your fee at the end. I know a bunch of companies like that are independents. There are franchises, which are kind of franchise independents, where you might have a really good broker that might be scored away, but they don't charge very much, a small monthly fee, or you pay the whole thing, and then you just get you pay your fee every time you close a deal. And that's okay too, because a lot of some of these, they're national versus a franchise, but some of them don't act like it, so their fees aren't as bad. And so, but the problem is with a franchisee though is that you got to pay fees. Like probably the lower one in the end is like Better Homes and Garden. They do like a 80-20 or 90-10 up to 6,000 or some BS like that. Their fees aren't as bad, but the problem with the franchises is that things are too high, and they're all part of the National Association of Realtors, and they force you to do all this stuff. So go with independent. I'll kind of stay on that. But back to the opportunities there. Is going to start opening up here before too long because the bonds are going to explode. So if you're an investor or buyer, it's going to be a good opportunity because a lot of the stuff's going to go into foreclosure realms, and there's a lot more FSBOs out there too. I've been seeing that too. You get a FSBO.com or some of these other FSBO sites, or you might have usually in the state you might have a kind of a what they call an XA listing, which essentially the owner is a seller is selling a property with a limited brokerage and basically get on the multiple, which is cool. And they'll get the buyer's agent usually 3%, but they represent themselves. So pop up now, which is good. And actually, that's opportunity if you're a real estate agent to start knocking those FSBOs, to start doing it, or the exposure won't hit as much in metro areas, but the FSBOs are starting to pop up. So that's a real opportunity for you. You need to create a FSBO package for real estate agent and do that. And you need to start thinking about, go to djackson.com, go to tomferry.com, mikeferry.com, go to buyerreferralonly.com, and or go to grantcardone.com /realtor or real estate agent. Anyways, but they've got all good pads on there. I saw this one regional trainer, I think it was in the Northeast a couple weeks ago. They had a pretty good package on the FSBO and expire, because the thing is, you're able to hand something and sell something to somebody. And I don't care when I see these stupid TV shows, they do not hand any kind of market evaluation on a home when they go to a seller. That's not cool. I mean, if you're talking to your investor, and the investor you're buying an apartment building, you need to see some kind of valuation on the property. And I'm not just talking. Yeah, you can make up and email it, but you need to hand them something so they can see it, so you can go over it. Same thing with a buyer. When you're doing a buyer, are you doing a CMA before? If you're a buyer, you need to ask for this. You're an investor, you need to ask for this. And for the opportunity is kind of cool, because you'll be able to see more of this as apartment buildings, commercial buildings. A big thing here in the Midwest is a lot of people are building they're building warehouse type facilities, modulars, steel frame. A lot of those are going up for sale. All of them are starting to come in the Southwest too. I'm reading more about it. That's another opportunity for you. So you got to keep looking for opportunities like houses. If you're going to buy a house on under, and you got the cash as an investor or a first-time buyer, and you go from buyer, on one house to 2, 3, 4, 5 properties, and financing is going to get a lot harder. So if you have cash, you can buy. I would say on the multifamily first, a 5-unit or more. Even if you have to buy a 40, good, do it. These are things you need to look at, but there's going to be opportunity because along the foreclosure. So, the reality is things are going to start dropping like a rock. The opportunity is you got the cash to buy, or you'll be able to put a bunch of money down to go ahead and get the property. Now, families especially in the Southwest and Midwest, or if you're in the West or East Coast, even the Southeast, there's going to be opportunities there to buy. If you're in the big metro areas, you might want to look outside the limits, and you want to start going further out, maybe 25, 30, 40, 50 miles out, and start looking at apartment buildings in those areas, because those are going to drop like rocks too. And the problem is going to be people renting apartment dwellers, and the thing is that they start losing their jobs, and all that, start going looking further out, places to live, their parents or relatives or whatever, and what happens is those rents drop too. So that's going to have to be factored in. But it doesn't have to low rent. If you buy cash, you're good to go, or you're able to finance. You put down and finance, the other gives you a lower drag ratio as far as payment. Things for you to consider. Like I said, opportunity versus reality. And I disagree with The Economist, because I've been through the 2008 horror show, because in 1 week I lost millions of dollars and all kinds of bad things happened to me. So I've been through it. So I kind of already know what's up. A lot of agents that came in like later on, 2012, 13, they haven't been through it. They had low rates for 10 years. They haven't been through the horror show, but they're going to get a piece of it this time. And this time is going to be a lot worse than 2008, because the next bonds that are going to boom out is going to be, they say 3 to 4 trillion bonds going to go up like smoke, and all hell is going to break loose. Inflation is going to keep going up, and they've never those markets. Like when Joe Stump, and this is for the agents and mortgage brokers, when Joe Stump was talking about 6 months ago about the skill sets of today's agents and mortgage brokers, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and they don't have the skill sets to deal with. And Tom Ferry talked about it again a couple times in the last 6 months, 8 months. He's taught the bend in the road. I remember he talked about that in 2008, 9, in the bend in the road. Grant Cardone talks about you weren't big enough, and all that's true, totally true. And I mean, Tom Ferry, if you're a real estate agent, Tom Ferry's got his summit coming up here down the road, down in Orange County. I think at the Pond, and I think it changed. Anyways, it's called Arrowhead Center of the Pond. I can't remember. It's in Orange County. Anyways, but if you're a real estate agent, you can afford it, you might want to go to it, or go to some of his online stuff and check it out. But he's been starting to talk more and more about it, because he's starting to see the reality. It's slammed. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity for investors. Washington, they're going to get hammered. Idaho is going to get slammed too. They're going to get slammed. Even Montana, in Plains area, Bozeman, they're going to get hammered too. Northeast, all across the New England states, up to Maine, New York, Pennsylvania, all going to get hammered too. And this time's going to be a hell of a lot worse than last time. Yeah, New York rents are starting to go up, but that's not going to last for long. So I'm not sure any of these people are playing with a full deck of reality. I remember when Washington Mutual went under, and that was a big deal, because we used to have warehouse lines with Washington Mutual mortgage company, because we used to be able to do our own loans and stuff like that. And right, we had Saxon Mortgage back in the day. Saxon had some okay stuff, but we had some warehouse lines then. But I remember talking to a head guy at Saxon one time. We were talking about the bond yields and the shifts, and that was like in 2004, and then they started changing out before they went under, like all the other companies. And a long time ago, and that, I remember 2007, there was a called Epona Mortgage, and when they went under, right, it was January 2007, right in there, they went under. I knew everything was going to go down, because they used to do a lot of stuff down. There used to be a company in Florida, I can't remember the name, all they do is commercial now, and they do business funding on the back end and some other stuff. Anyways, God, I can't remember their name. Anyways, it'll probably come back to me. anyways, look out. They used to do a lot in the subprime markets because I used to do a lot of foreclosure bailouts. I love doing foreclosure bailouts, especially with a mortgage broker. Those are some states in the West Coast you can do it, and some other states, but not many. Most companies don't have those subprimes because mortgage companies, non-prime, don't operate in areas of the U.S. But this one company, and they went under, and they just went all commercial, and they went under because they lost their shirt in the residential. I knew when they went under in 2006, it was over. And there were some other companies too, smaller ones that were subprime companies, non-conforming. They had some really good products, and they went under, gone. I knew things were, and the same thing starting to happen now. There's a lot of mortgage companies in bubble, and they're going to start imploding. If you're a mortgage broker, you better be watch it. And also, too, if you're a mortgage broker, you out of your mortgage company, if they're not doing besides the vanilla garbage, conventional, and basically the FHA if they're approved for it, or the VA for it, but if they're not doing any kind of non-conforming Alt-A stuff, you need to look at, especially you need to look at the Alt-A non-conforming subprime. Some companies do, some companies don't, but you need to start looking at other forms of doing financing. Also, too, you need to start doing commercial financing. Commercial financing will stick because there's still a lot of money for that. Even things go under it did last time. As long as people got the cash to put down, the commercial's got a lot more firm footing now. There's some big rumbles for investors in the mall market, man, because some malls can be really popular. Some malls have reinvented themselves. Some have got completely annihilated. Like you go to St. Louis, I've seen some strip malls that were vacant for a long time, and it wasn't up until about 2.5, 3 years ago that some of these strip malls, which were all brand new when they were built in 2008 and 9, are starting to come back to life. Kansas City's the same way. You can see it in Memphis, Nashville, all the way up into Chicago. Even going back through Wichita, all the way back in Colorado. Some of them were brought back to life in like the last 3 or 4 years, but they could all get hammered again, even though they might have ironclad leases. But there's always going to be things in the lease to get out of it. The economy starts going to crap. That's kind of a new thing. If a real estate agent, you need to make sure that if you're doing commercial leases, I hate doing them because I always refer them out. You need to make sure that there's clauses in there for that. And you're an investor, you need to look for that, or you need to make sure if you're going to lease, you're going to have certain guidelines in there. In other words, you're going to have addendums in there. Basically, if the economy goes up, and you need to be able to get out of that lease because you can't afford it, or you're going to declare bankruptcy. Because a lot of these owners, especially because they've got a lot of cash and they're big, they hammer on businesses sometimes. They're not flexible. And that happened last time in 2008, and they lost their shorts. And what happened to those guys, that word got out on the street, and they started putting their stuff back up after the other people out. The other people left. In other words, a lot of businesses would never go back to those people. And they wouldn't do it, even though they might have stuff that a perfect area to rent, they wouldn't do it. And the COVID thing really knocked a lot of stuff out too. So you got to make sure there are clauses in there, clawback clauses, so you don't get screwed in case something happens. So these are things to think about as opportunity and reality. Opportunities that are going to be there, and it's starting to open up. A lot of the crap they're putting out is all garbage. Washington Mutual put out the same stuff before they went under, bought their garbage before they took them all in different states. The same thing's happening now. You get the same real estate quote unquote gurus and stuff like that that are not playing with a full deck of reality, and it's kind of sad because they're not telling the truth about anything. They're kind of BSing on a lot of stuff. So if you're a real estate agent, you need to start acquiring, and also too, marketing. You need to start acquiring more marketing. Go to ilovemarketing.com, and you need to start listening to the stuff with and Joe Polish, because Joe Polish has been back now. He took a sabbatical in 2021. I don't blame him. I mean, the guy's rich anyway, he wants, but yeah, I don't blame him for not doing it. It's pretty cool. But you need to start listening to their stuff, and you need to start going back, listening to some of the old school stuff, the Tommy Hawkins stuff and stuff like that. if you're real estate agent, mortgage broker, excuse me, you need to start going through and listening to some of these trainings, and you need to start getting in depth about it. And they got a lot of stuff for free. And frankkern.com, you need to go there. If you guys are doing digital, you need to start learning more about digital and how to do it properly. Frank Kern's got a lot of free stuff on it. Some of the stuff is a lot older, but it applies now like it did 10, 12 years ago. Also too, there's a talk with Joe Stump, a buyer for only his company. He did it with Exit Realty like 10 years ago. You should watch it because there's a lot of stuff that resonates then. And I would sign up for all these. I'd get on all the YouTube channels and I would all their free stuff because they got a lot of cool stuff that's free that you can get that can help your business. Because the thing is, you're not going to use all of it. Of course not, but you can do one on there that might help your business. It might be one or two or three things from all of them that might help us explode. Because that's kind of where they're trying to get you to when they do coaching, is to get you in a mental frame of mind so you can basically boom it out. Grant Cardone's got all kinds of good stuff. Why about Grant? One, because he's worth $1.3 billion. He has a Gulfstream 650, but also two, he understands the reality of it because he owns, $5.5 billion of the real estate. I think he said he has 14,000 units, like that, 13,500. Anyways, because he's been there and he's done that, and he already knows what's up, and also too because he's got a lot of good sales stuff that actually works. And so that's an important thing. So, like I said, I have no problem talking about a lot of these other people because they got cool stuff. Because I look at all their stuff all the time, and I like looking at it because it's cool. A bunch of other people out there got some pretty cool stuff. Like there's a new free download that just came out. I just saw it on YouTube. It's only been out probably a month to download for if you're first doing commercial real estate, how to buy things. And I just took a look at it. I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And they had some pretty deep information on there. A lot of stuff I've talked about, but of course on a lot more detail. But still, they had some good stuff on there. There's another cat out there from Atlanta that has some pretty good stuff. So I'm all for it because basically a lot of the information is good, and it's something you forget because you can't remember it all. And there's always good. That's why I don't dog in any of the trainers or this or this, because all of them have good, and they all have good points and stuff like that. So I'm like all for it. So like I said, so if you got any questions, you can go to nickforecast.com. You can do Facebook and nickforecast. You can go to cobrafunds.funding. I do commercial real estate funding, all kinds of business funding. I got some cool stuff. I got some cool commercial on there. Also to factoring loans. I've got some real special type investing. This is for the high investor that wants to build a shopping mall, wants to build apartment buildings, maybe wants to build a bunch of steel structures that are a warehouse type steel. Warehousing is a lot of cash to do, but actually the cash isn't that bad. It's actually pretty cheap. But right now, that's a big booming business. If I had some cash and do it, I would start building warehouses, steel frames, and I start building 100,000 square foot warehouses. Yeah, 100,000 feet at least, maybe 200,000 feet, and I build a whole bunch of them. And the reason I would do it is because right now the supply chain is so bad that they're screwed. And it's just you're gonna have to find a land and lease to build it, or you buy the property and do it that way. I'd buy the property and do it. You turn around and lease it out, and you will have that stuff leased in 2 seconds. Like Regis is killing it. They have percent. I saw the CEO of Regis on Fox Business not that long ago, and basically all his space is filled 100%, and there's a waiting list, and they're putting the stuff up across the U.S. as fast as possible, and they'll never meet demand. So it's cool business. So warehousing, if you got the cash, you're an investor, do it. We can help find some really cool stuff on the other side. Anyway, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and subscribe. I just want to keep building it out. If you got questions, ask me. Don't be afraid to ask, and I will do my best to answer. You guys have a good day. Bye.